Well, everyone, we wanted to welcome you to House Matters. I'm your I'm your host, Ed Esteban, mortgage broker. Today, you are in for a great treat. I have my guest speaker here, my friend Cielo Fuentes. Oh, okay. Cielo is actually a co-founder of KHR, a well-known real estate brokerage based in Pinole, California. Okay. Cielo has been in the business for quite a bit, about 24 years. Yeah. Same as me, 2000, right? Yeah. One thing I really like with Cielo is that she is very well focused in helping clients, not just about inquiries and things like that, but to get them into their first home. She is very solution oriented. So we all know that not everybody's going to be in the perfect scenario, especially if you're buying your first home, right, Jello? And I really like working with her because so we were the same in a lot of ways. We take joy and pride in helping families walk in and get into their new home. Right, Cielo? Great. Great. Now, Cielo, would you share a little bit more about how do you take care of clients? What are the first things that anybody that's thinking about buying real estate, what should they be doing?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Yes, I agree with Ed here. I call him brother because we think alike. We put priority on the highest calling first. So that's why I think it reflects on the way we service our clients is because we know that there is a higher power that we have to answer to. Give glory to him first, right?
Yes.
In everything that we
Amen.
do. When people approach me, either my sphere of influence, they ask me, "Oh, can you help my friends?"
Mhm.
Or when a new buyer comes into the open house and asks me, how do we get started into buying a home? Or I want to buy a home, I don't know where to get started. The first thing that I tell them is, let me connect you with a loan professional, someone who knows what they're doing. Because there are a lot of lenders out there, but they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
For me, I really care for my clients, so I make sure that I partner them up with someone who knows the business. And Ed here, I have great confidence in him because you've had underwriting experience
Yes,
before, right?
yes.
So he's got underwriting experience before. He's been a loan officer for 24 years as well. So I know when I introduce to him a client that my client's not going to be ignored. So I know that he answers calls right away. He returns phone calls. He returns emails. So that's what I'm looking for with a lender. And he is very diligent in looking for the right program for my client. And that's very important to me. Make sure that my client's needs are addressed. That's what I do. I give them back to you. So what do you do with my clients when I
Thank
give
you.
them to you?
Before I answer those, I know those are key, okay, and we call them a pre-approval process. I know Cielo has a process also to get our clients oriented first to set expectation and so forth. Would you spend like a couple of minutes to just talk about that real quick, and then I'll take over about how to do the pre-approval process?
Yeah, what I do aside from connecting them with Ed is that I try to get interviewed by my buyers first. So my clients, I tell them, why don't you interview me? See if you like me. And if you like me, please hire me. So effective August 2024, there is a real estate rule, a brand new rule that before a buyer can go and look at houses, aside from the pre-approvals, they need to have hired a buyer's agent. And that's what I do, is that I don't automatically assume that you're going to hire me. I ask to make an appointment with you so that you can interview me using a buyer orientation process. And in that buyer orientation, I get you familiarized with the verbiage in real estate, the process, and the buyer agreement process, buyer's broker's agreement process. So that's the new one. Before, you could actually just go and assume that the seller is going to pay the buyer's agent's compensation. But effective August 2024, that's no longer the case. Your agent, me, has to negotiate with the seller regarding the compensation. But if the seller says that they don't provide compensation, then the buyer has to agree that the compensation will be either worked on with the loan, or they need to work out an agreement with me on how the compensation is going to be. But that's another topic that we can discuss on the next episode.
Or next
maybe.
episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But in the buyer orientation, I not only try to figure out what's the best time for us to meet, what your pre-approval is, what kind of neighborhood you want, what kind of house you want. And I do that research even before we start looking. Once you hired me, I make sure that I curate the house to see if that fits your needs, right? And then if I can find the disclosures ahead of time or the inspection reports, I will run the comparables in the area
Mhm.
so that we're not wasting time. I am for efficiency and education. That's what I do. And then after that, when all is well and you've hired me, then we go.
All right. Thank you for that, Cello. So now we'll talk about first time home buyer pre approval. And I know that a lot of you have heard a lot about different programs, about down payment assistance here from the city, from the county, from the state. What is this zero program about? Actually, how I approach it is there's tons of incentives nowadays. And I know that comes with if the economy is strong, there's going to be less of that. If not, there's going to be more incentives that are provided by each type of government, okay, and even the private sector. Now, having said that, what I do with the pre-approval for you is that once I gather all the financial information so that we can qualify you for a first-time home buyer loan, I automatically actually look into the programs where you might qualify or is best fitting for your purpose. Because there's a variety of them. And I'll give you two examples of the down payment program. There's one called grant. A grant is free money. That's 3.5% payment that you don't have to worry about because it's going to come from our program.
Free
Uh,
money.
yeah, ting, ting, cling, like ding, 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 ding. It's free money.
Yeah.
Grant is something that you don't have to repay. But what is the catch, right? The caveat to that is the rate is going to be a little higher.
Mhm.
For instance, if today the rate is, let's say, 5.99, that's going to be about 1 point higher, 6.99. But the 3.5%, you don't have to repay. So, for instance, on a $500,000 loan, that's going to be 3.5% payment. That's about 16,000 that you don't have to come out of your pocket, right?
Mhm.
So we'll take a down payment included in your application. Now you don't have to repay that again. There's no interest incurred. That's the one type of zero down payment program. Okay. Now the other type of down payment programs, rather, they are to be repaid. Okay. It's a silent second. It's also about 3.5%. And
Down payment.
down payment, yeah, 3.5%. Not gonna come from you. It's gonna come from whatever entity, county, city, state availability that we have secured for you. But typically, you have to repay it. So about 5 years from right now, or when you decide you're gonna do refinance, 3 years from now, that's when it's gonna be due. Okay, there's no interest incurred, but you just gotta repay back. By that time, you already have more equity in your house anyway. Repaying back the 16 grand, I
Or
don't think
maybe
it's
the
gonna
interest
be,
rate will go down.
or the interest rate will go down because that's the reason for the refi. Okay. So anyway, how do you get pre-approved? Okay. And how that works is basically we're going to require some financial evaluation. And what that is to determine your capability on how much house you can buy. Okay. The payments involved, what are the monthly payments so that we can help you also determine what that budget is going to be. Because you don't want to go in blind and say, oh, I want that house. I like this house, but it might be too high of a price for you. And again, this is not discriminating based on your job. Well, in a way, based on your income. Okay. But it's really giving more guidance on you have a family and that's why you're probably looking for a home is to provide your family a place to live and be more comfortable. But it has to be affordable. You still got to eat, right? You still need gas to get to work. You need food or maybe some money for clothing and such. Maybe at least go out to dinner a couple of times a week. We want to be able to help you create that budget and understand that if you buy the $600,000 house, is your budget going to be too tight? Are you going to be able to make the car payment? So
Right.
we all do that for you and help you determine that. Now, when I give you guidance on the maximum amount, and basically I'm conservative with that approach, is just to give you insight on how much house you can buy and what the maximum expenses related to that mortgage payment would be. Because there's other things other than principal and interest payment. There's property taxes, there's home insurance, and of course, that's on top of the household expenses that you're already worried about. So we want to make sure that's all contained and we help you with that budget. Now, once we get that pre-approval letter ready for you, and of course, throughout the process, you and I, the customer, will be talking, we'll be chatting, maybe if not daily, at least a couple of times until we get that pre-approval completed. Then I will provide you that copy and inform Cielo, who's your realtor, that this is now the parameter. It doesn't mean that she's gonna try to maximize that. It just means that this is the starting point, because you can go up and down single family home or duplex or condominium, depending on your objective that would fit your plans. And then Cielo will get to work and you guys back to home search,
There you
right?
go.
The fun stuff. Cielo gets the fun stuff, the HGTV type of thing. You look at the homes
Yeah.
and visit, see what
Yeah.
your liking
I
is.
like that.
Yeah, it's the fun stuff. She gets the fun stuff. I get the grind, right? But anyway, so now after you found the right property for them, she will have a purchase offer. And then, Cheryl, can you explain a little bit about how that works?
Oh, the purchase offer, bro.
Mhm.
For before, you will love working with me when I go show you houses, because there's no pressure for me. I believe that when you see the house that you really like, you don't even have to say anything. You already know it's your house. Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. You feel
you-
it. You see
you
it.
feel it,
Yeah.
and you open the door. When I open the door for you, and you see yourself in that house, you will jump and say, "This is the house that I really
Right.
want."
It speaks,
This is my
speaks
house.
to me. Yeah. I'm home now. I'm home now.
There you go. And then what I will do is I will run the comps in the area and then look at the disclosures with you. I will attend the home inspection. If there's no inspections available, I will suggest to you what kind of inspections would be appropriate for this house. Normally, I'll ask a home, a pest, and a and a roof inspection. Okay, so if that's not available before you make an offer, we'll put that in the contract that it will be subject to that inspection.
Mhm.
Okay, but my goal is to get you into the house. One of the conversations that I actually ask my clients is that, how much do you love this house? Because if you really, really love this house, we will be very aggressive in the way we make the offer. Okay, if you're not really sold on the house, let's not make an offer. Because
Don't waste your time.
don't waste your time. You'll still be looking around. I don't want us to be in contract and then you're still looking around for the next best thing.
Right.
So I really want you to feel the house. We make an offer. I run the comps to give you an educated guidance on where the pricing's gonna be. Okay, and there's no guarantee because you never know who you're competing with. But my role is to talk to the other agent to find out what the seller's motivation is so that we can position ourselves so we can have a winning offer. And once we make an offer, there's only three responses that we're going to look for anyway. Either an acceptance, yay, okay, or a counter that says, okay, we don't like your price, can you increase your price? Or we don't like your contingency period, which is your inspection period, can you lower it down? And if the one we don't want is a rejection, okay, so if it's an acceptance, then normally this is where I love working with this guy because we have closed properties. I don't want to overpromise, but we have closed properties as fast as what, 16 days?
Yes. 17 days.
17 days, as fast
17
as 17 days. And normally it takes about 30 days to close. Okay, so it really depends, but we work very fast. As long as you have all your ducks in a row. For ducks, as in
The docs.
dogs. All your documents are ready with
Uh-huh.
Ed and it's all updated. He can work as fast as I work because I work very fast.
I can attest to that. Now, to circle back a little bit on the qualification, and I forgot to mention, for what I normally do is I will provide you an email upon our conversation. I'll provide you guidance with that. I'll set up expectation on the timeline of it. But I'll first send you an email, and that email will be the link to an online application. Now we're all about electronic now.
Yeah.
Everything, there's no paper that's floating around. So it's all electronic. It's on an encrypted website. You complete the application, and on that same email, I will enlist the documents, we call it docs, that we will need. Typically, 2 years of tax returns, 2 months of pay stubs, 2 months of bank statements, so proof of funds. That we still want to know that if you have money that is going to be available for the purchase, whether there's down payment assistance or not, because you're still going to have some closing costs involved, okay? and we need to know about your work, to your history, and so forth. But we know there's not a perfect scenario. We also deal with borrowers that are self-employed, so we have a different program for that, and we'll expand on that on a different setting. But typically, our W-2 employees, pay stubs, 2 months bank statements, and so forth. And of course, ID. We got to deal with Patriot Act. We got to make sure that you are you. Nobody's using your identity. Yeah.
What about gifts?
Oh, gifts. Gifts.
Gift. I saw one time it says gift letter.
Yes, gift letters. Okay.
You have a rich uncle.
A rich uncle or your parents are going to help you. Okay. And that's one of the things that we closed recently. We have the young couple, okay, trying to buy their first home and need a little bit help. But instead of going with a down payment assistance, their parents actually stepped in and say, hey, we will pay for the down payment and we will help you with the closing costs. So basically, the young couple will only need to worry about making the monthly payment. So the gift funds is what we call it.
Gift funds.
Will be coming from a family member, not the realtor, but the family member or cousin or bestie friends. Because we have those, right? Best friends that would help, and essentially getting them involved just as far as securing the funds,
Yeah.
the down payment.
But the letter needs to say that it is not a loan, but it's a gift.
Yes, it's a gift. The gift is not to be repaid. Okay, but we will assist you when it comes to that. We have gift letters that you can utilize, but you can of course customize it based on. Again, it's not an agreement where you're gonna be paying them back. No, that's a no. It's got to be like something they give you to help you out, and you start from there. Okay. Now, a few things that I have experienced, especially now we're in the summertime, is that although there are properties that I know you're going to be shopping, you're going to be looking at homes, you're going to love some, you're going to hate some. But when you find the property that speaks to you, that you feel is right, and you can pretty much see that's the property for you, I suggest don't take too much of a time.
Yeah.
Because I kid you not, you see it Friday and you might think, oh, I'll think about it, Cello, I'll take a week or two, think about it. That'll be gone.
Because the chances are, if you like it, some other people will like it.
We'll like it too.
Okay, most especially if it's think of it as Miss Universe. If the property is a Miss Universe level, there's a lot of people who's gonna try and woo that Miss Universe, right? Now, if you're I'm sorry to say, but needs help,
Yeah.
it will stay longer in the market. But you know what? Sometimes I get blessed with a property that's been on the market for a long time.
Mhm.
Sometimes we get the best deal if it's been on the market for a long time.
Yes.
Okay. You also come across a seller that's really just very firm on the price.
Mhm.
But there are, in my experience, if it's been in the market for 4 months, it's ready to negotiate.
Yes.
So sometimes that's the best. And then if you're not afraid of, what do you call the elbow grease?
Basically, if you are a handyman,
Handy person.
If you-
Or if you're good at interviewing other contractors to do the
Yes.
upgrading for you, sometimes you will be able to get a good deal on those kind of houses that's been there
right?
for a long time.
Or about that old worn out doorknob. There's Home Depot, $25. All
There
right.
you go, there
So
you go.
things that you can live with or can be replaced immediately,
Yeah.
don't worry about those. That should not deter you from getting the house that you want. Okay.
Right.
So I know there's a lot of things covered, and we do have a plethora. I'm a mortgage broker, so we do have a plethora of loan programs available. So if there are issues with credit or you have your own business and so forth, and you don't have a pay stub, don't worry about that. Think of us as we're non-bank, okay? Because let me give you a quick difference on that. Banks have their own loan programs. If you don't fit their guidelines, they throw you out, meaning they can't accommodate you.
It's just, if you go to the big banks, it's just like walking into a McDonald's. Whatever they serve, that's the only loan program you're going to get.
Uh-huh.
But when you go to a mortgage broker, think of it like a food court.
I'm the buffet. You got the buffet. We got burgers, we got steak.
That's
Right?
why I like referring clients to you, because there are clients that it takes them 3 years to prepare. So there are people that go, I don't know if I'm ready yet. It's okay if you're not ready, because the worst thing you could do is pass up the opportunity to get pre-approved right
Mhm.
now when you're qualified right now. Okay, some people ask me, when's the best time to buy? Well, the best time to buy is when you're able to be pre-approved. Because if you wait 3 years from now but you don't have a job, you cannot be pre-approved.
And with this too, if you know that there's some issue, maybe you had a bankruptcy in the past or you had a bad credit that you corrected 2 3 years ago, don't hesitate, because that's what I do. I'm also a trained underwriter. We will give you guidance if there's anything that needs to be corrected, and I'll tell you if it's going to take at least 3 months more to get things corrected. I'll give you that guideline.
And you
Okay.
actually go through them and say, he's the kind that say, pay all your credit. No, he will actually tell you, okay, maybe just pay this one credit
I'll
card.
guide you just enough to get it over the fence.
Over the fence.
okay?
That's what we want. You know?
But again, having said that, we are family oriented, we're family people. So we want to make sure that we don't put you in a bind where, some just want the transaction, get you to buy the house, and then 6 months later, or even 3 months later, you find yourself in a budget situation where you cannot afford things, because there's not enough room left for emergencies. If I myself are buying it or my kids are making that purchase, to make sure that in case of emergency or any event that unforeseen, that you won't get yourself in a bind. We're family people. So
Yeah.
you're our extended family now. Too
Yeah.
late.
To me, that's the way I approach
Yeah.
it too. Is that when people want to hire me for the real estate service, I immediately think of you as family.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna try our best to make sure that we remain friends forever.
Yeah.
And
we
besides-
we like people. We
Yeah.
want you to
Yeah.
like us so
Yeah.
that we can have extended family members to help.
Exactly.
All
We
right.
want you to be happy. We don't want you to call us in the middle of the night and say, "Why did you put me in this real estate?"
No, we'll take care of you.
Yeah.
All right. So for today, folks, I know that we have a lot of things to talk about, but stay tuned. We have more to talk about: products, services, how to work on your credit. We'll provide that on other segments. But for now, Cielo Fuentes, how about a big hand for my good friend? And again, welcome to House Matters.